Hey there, hey, it is Michelle with Brilliant Quest. And at the time of this recording, a famous content creator, influencer by the name of Vanessa Lau just put out yesterday. She just put out a return video as to why she left. Now, I followed her loosely for a couple of years. I learned about her during the pandemic, and I was really interested in, her story. She was young. I wanted to, support, and I just enjoyed watching her. And I saw some of the signs because, being older and having gone through some of these things in my 20s, I, could see it. But she left. And I was like, good for her. Go and get your healing. Do not, whatever. But when she came back, it was a lot of the things that I had suspected, not just burnout, but the immense responsibility of growing fast and being responsible for other people without a succession plan. And so it was good for her to just take her time and talk about the journey. And so I wrote down 5 things that I learned, I should say, from her, that some of it was reminder, but some of it was a new way to look at things in today's society. Now this hits me differently because this is me in my second chapter, in my second part of life. You guys know this is not a dye job. This is real, and for me to decide that I was going to become full-time with YouTube while trying to, have my life has been something big because it takes a lot out of you. And so listening to Vanessa Lau have her conversation, excuse me, have her conversation with us in such a vulnerable and authentic way moved me. So I made notes. I'm gonna be looking down because I want to make sure I give it to you good. All right. So let's get into it. The first thing that I took away, and it wasn't the first thing she said, I'm just taking them in the order and priority, was that you must find your enough point. What is enough money? What is enough sharing of who you are? What is enough time that you're willing to give in exchange? Because like her, you're part of my extended family. You're part of my tribe. You rock with my quirkiness. And I actually sat down and started wanting to put some barriers around what's enough, because creep and greed are natural. It's human. It's human to want more. That's what the whole hedonistic treadmill is for. We're never satisfied. And so with her saying, find your enough point and stick to it, I was like, yes, because that gives you boundaries. It gives you goals, but it also gives you a respite from the crazy. Because in that video, and I'm going to put the link to the video in the description, and you please go check it out, because she did ask us to share. And that's what I'm doing, because I appreciate when somebody comes and tells me the truth and looks me in the face and says, this is what happened to me. I don't want it to happen to you. And that's what I'm doing. All right. So finding your enough point. How much money? How much time? How much personal TMI information? All of those things. Very, very good and wise for someone so young. The next one is to be a solopreneur is okay. One of the tricks out there, and I'm hesitating because it's not that I learned this from her. It was just that this was a confirmation from her, because I looked at it and I said, I'm okay with being a solopreneur. You can look at so many different people that are making it, and the next thing you know, they've got teams, they've got employees, they've got all of this stuff where they have worked themselves from the freedom that we wanted as a solopreneur right back into the jobs that we wanted to leave. And now you got to do it because you're the head and people are depending on you. And if you don't get up and do what you need to, people don't eat. And that's a big responsibility. And thankfully, she confirmed that it is okay, which goes back to figure out what's enough. Because if you figure out what's enough that you can live on and have a good life, that you can have a harmonized, I don't like to say balance because balance means even and dead, but what you can have harmony in your life, that will help you. And being a solopreneur does not mean that I have to grow into this corporation and have all of these employees. Now I can, but if I do, based on some of the things that she said, it will help me to approach it differently. So thank you, Vanessa. I don't know if you'll ever see this, but for your big sis, Michelle, girl, I love you. Thank you. And you're helping even more people than you ever have. All right. So anyway, back to this, because you never know who's going to watch. The next one this one hit different, because I could tell you, she said, be authentic, but she didn't just say be authentic. She said, be authentic in your identity. And she talked about some people that I'm very familiar with in the world of the creator economy who are good people. She says, but she lost herself in trying to do what they said and then be them. And she said she got to the point where she would look at her own brand and she couldn't see herself. All she could see was them. And that's like 50 years of doing the work just to get to that point where to be authentic is not just to tell your truth, but it is to understand how to have a tether to your truth so that you don't get consumed into somebody else. She talked about, she says, when I looked at my video, she says, I was even turning myself into these people. She said, I started editing like I saw another person edit. I started talking like I saw another person talking. And I was like, you know what? That's a good reminder that this authenticity that we seek to share, it requires so much freedom that the freedom is scary. When you look at true freedom, and I was talking to a friend about this, and actually she was like, you need to share that. That's a video. I was like, I don't know, but we'll see. But true freedom is very scary. And what I was talking about was with my friend, we were talking about how the birds of the air and the animals and the fish, they might look like they're more constrained in their abilities, when compared to our freedom, but they have something that we don't, that makes our freedom scary. They have these homing systems, little crystals in their mind. And bear with me, I'm getting back. I haven't forgotten that I'm talking about what Vanessa taught me. This goes with it. But in this authentic way, a bird knows when to fly, when to migrate, and where to go. A fish knows when. Have you ever seen those fish undersea, and they swim in these schools and they make these quick, movements all in sync? It's because of the same thing. And humans, now this is up for debate, but either we had the same type of magnetic crystals in our brains, or we never had them, or we had them over time and evolutionarily we made them defunct or something. Environmentally, I mean, we made them defunct. But it is proven that if you drop a human who is, now of course we've taught ourselves how to use nature to figure this out. But if you were to drop an uneducated, unlearned person into a new terrain and tell them to get back to where you dropped them, it is proven that we will walk in circles. We will just go in circles. We will not be able to home in. And that is a good explanation or illustration of our freedom. When we have so much freedom, there are no boundaries. There are no directions. There are no roadmaps. And so you can wander aimlessly. You can do things that cause you to lose yourself. And that is how authenticness in searching for who you are can go awry. And you end up waking up and looking and saying, I've lost myself. I'm this other person. I'm just mimicking other people. It's because of this freedom. And when she talked about authentic to the point of staying tethered to yourself so that you don't become someone else unawares, I felt that. Oh my God, I felt that. All right. So that was number 3. The next one is, be strong enough to stop. And I added this one on because this has been one of my rally cries, and that is be strong enough to say no. So when she opens, and it's about 40 minutes, when she opens the video, she shows herself crying. And then she talks about how she shut everything down in the course of 3 weeks. She finished up some obligations that were coming to an end, but she left speaking engagements. She closed down her business that made her money. She just shut it all down. And I was like, oh my God, could I do that? Could I just stop? And at that moment, I was like, I ain't that strong. And so it really had me up marinating on it last night. I was like, go to bed, Michelle. But it hit me that hard. Are you able and strong enough to stop when it's no longer healthy? Now, I'm really good now about no. I can tell you no, but stopping something, because I have tenacious tenacity. I'm aggressively sassy when I need to be. And stopping something that I get benefit out of. I mean, she stopped her bag. She did. She stopped where her reputation was going to be impugned. She did. I was like, that's ooh. But then, like I said, as I started marinating on it, I was like, this is equivalent to that guy who had to cut his own arm off to save himself. Now, did he need that arm? Yes. But did he need to save the more of him more so? Yes. And that is something that I will tell you, I'm not there yet. I'm working on it. But now that I'm aware, I'm working on it, and I want to share it with you. Take some time to really, don't just listen to my little list of 5 things, because there's many more. Think about some of this stuff. If it's resonating with you, it's because you were supposed to be confronted with it. Work with it. Work through it. Okay. The next one is scaling is good and dangerous. Now, to scale is to, expand, blow up something, especially in your business. And too many times we have this, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit more, but we've fallen into this grind set. You know how they used to have mindset? I'm thankful they're over that, because there's nothing said about the mind. But now we have this grind set where we have to continuously grind. And don't get me wrong, grind is good. Grind is good in certain applications, but all the time, I did a video about stop ruining self-improvement by doing the most. And that's what it comes down to. Now, I don't use the term grind set, but that's what I'm talking about. When we have this constant need to prove our worthiness to have what we have by grinding so much, it's wrong. And this wasn't in my notes, but I'm going to say this. Gary Vaynerchuk, he gets a bad rap for the grind set. And that people took what he said and they were like, I just constantly got to be grinding. But even if you look at Gary will tell you, I have time for my family, not as much as he would like, but he's like, I understand that there are certain things that I need to do. I need to decompress. And so he's not constantly grinding either. But this goes back to assumptions. Sometimes we got to be aware when our gurus are making assumptions about us that cause us to get into the danger zone. And so with scaling, everybody wants to grow. No one wants to shrink or recede or even die. But scaling can be dangerous and bad unchecked. And my heart went out to that baby when she was talking about how fast she grew. And she was like, she forgot how important it was to be thankful for each thing you get. And so she showed a picture of when she made her first 200,000 selling products online. And she was so thankful and she was in tears. And then she showed where she was miserable and in fear and having high anxiety and can't sleep. And she was making 8 million. And she could not be happy about anything. She actually showed herself in an event and she glances down at her watch and her heart rate is elevated. Her watch is telling her her heart rate is elevated because she couldn't relax. And I was just like, what have we done to ourselves? The other day I talked about wrecking balls, and the wrecking ball effect is the law of polarity, where at any given time you can be swinging through a full range. And the law of polarity says for every equal and opposite event, there is an opposite reaction, kind of like cause and effect. And when I watched her, this 40-minute odyssey of what she went through for the last year showed me that she was having her wrecking ball event and she was trying to find her equal opposite. Because during that year, she spent a lot of time, not just traveling like you would think, but she spent time spending it with family. She got engaged to her boo. She understood what she was about, and she made these 4 pillars. Now, I want you to go watch it because I'm not trying to tell all her video. Go watch it. It's worth a look. But she talked about these 4 new pillars that she is, creating as her foundation. And it really helped me to see that, yes, we want it all. We want to matter. I'm at that age where I don't care about fame. I care about impact. I care about leaving people better than I found them. I care about doing my part, my purpose. I care about being authentically true. And I know that diligence and consistency always show up with a paycheck. And so now, because of Vanessa's reminder and being so brave and vulnerable to come and talk to us and tell us the 411 of what really went down, I now know that I found my enough point. I know that to be a solopreneur is okay because I know my enough point now. And I know that I can achieve that with just me or maybe a few. I don't have to be forced into the bigness of it all. If I want to, that's fine, because I've learned a few things from what she said to be on the lookout for as well. But I'm okay with being a solopreneur. I know that in my authenticity, I must stay tethered to who I am, being mindful of the total freedom that you have. And that freedom, because we as humans, we can walk around in circles on our own, to not reach out and become another person in your quest to be authentic and to be, the best. And to be, this one, like I said, I'm still marinating on this one. Be strong enough to stop, even if it means cutting off an arm to save the body. Now, universe, I ain't trying to say that. I'm not trying to say that. But you understand. Stopping, not being deterred by what somebody might think of me, or people pleasing, or trying to fulfill other people's expectations when it's killing me, those things. And of course, understanding that scaling is good and dangerous. Be mindful and respectful of it. And so that's what I wanted to say. And again, thank you for listening. Thank you for getting to this point. This is Michelle, your big sis with Brilliant Quest. Don't forget to go check out Vanessa Lau's latest, at this time of recording, her video. It's named Why I Left. And I'll put the link in the description. And just if you've made it to this point, be on the lookout. I am going to release a manual. And it's a mental maintenance manual covering a lot of the stuff that we cover here to help you to stay out of mental pain and turmoil, to help you to navigate out of just striving to live to thriving, and a whole bunch of other things that I've not been seeing, but I know that work. And so don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and I will see you sooner than later. Bye.